So this is probably one of the most commonly asked questions, and that is how to internal link blog posts together. Now, there's multiple ways that you can do this. There's definitely tools that you can do this with. There are AI automations that you can actually do. Like, I'm going to be showing you guys multiple different ways that you can actually do your internal linking relatively easily. But before I show you any of the AI automations, before I show you any of the crazy stuff that you can actually do, I think it's very important that you guys understand why internal linking is important, and also how to do it manually prior to automating it and making an absolute mess of it, because it is one thing that you can completely mess up, and it can definitely destroy a website if you don't do it correctly. Very quickly, if you guys haven't already bought tickets to the Masterminders, it's happening on the 27th of June in 2025. It's happening in Manchester, and you've got the likes of Craig Campbell, Lara Costa, James Dooley, Carrie Rose, and many, many others speaking at this conference. It's going to be a 2-day conference. The first day is more of an actual conference where you can hear the speakers. The second day is more of like a private mastermind where you get there in groups of like 5 or 6. You get 45 minutes each person to talk about like what you're struggling with, what you're trying to scale, and then people can obviously chime in and obviously help your business out as well. So if you haven't already, buy tickets. There's going to be 150 tickets available. Get them before they are all gone. So I thought for this video, if any of you guys have been watching me for a long time, you'll know that I used to love a whiteboard for explaining some really advanced strategies, and I've decided to break out the whiteboard. It's probably been about a year since I've actually done a whiteboard video. I won't be just doing a whiteboard video, but for the first like couple minutes of this. But what you need to remember is that every single document on your website, there's going to be a before. Excuse the really bad drawing. And there's also going to be an after. I'll also draw the after in a different color as well. We'll do it in like a red. Or, yeah, we'll do it in like a red or an orange, right? So this is going to be the before and also the after document, right? So if I go to the blue here, if I draw this, right? So we'll do B. We'll do the current page that somebody has actually landed on, and we will do the after, right? So what is the before, the current, and the after? This is how I like to frame my internal linking, mainly because it just makes the most amount of sense. It's going to mean that the people that actually land on your website will be able to stay on your website for the longest period of time. This is what like a lot of really successful websites do, whether they are in e-commerce, whether they are a knowledge hub, whether it's a local business, whether it honestly doesn't matter. All the best ranking websites that consistently rank in Google, this is the framework that they follow, and they might not even know that they're following this. It might just make sense from a understanding your actual audience point. So this is what it looks like, and I'll show you this in action as well. So for this keyword, right, all I've done is I've just searched for how much does a divorce cost, right? And this is the third ranking website. I've tried to pick out like a website that is actually that isn't like a government website. So you've got like the moneyhelper.com. These are like pretty big organizations. This is actually Anthony Gold Solicitors. So this is an actual law firm that's actually ranking for it. And as you can see here, right, you've got anthonygold.co.uk, and they've done like a blog article on how much does a divorce cost in the UK. And as you can see here, very early on, they've actually mentioned here at Anthony Gold Solicitors, our aim is to simplify the process for you, providing clarity about the cost of a divorce, so on and so forth, right? But then they've also got like other internal links. So like, for example, they're talking about like a financial settlement, and basically that's basically like where you both agree on a fee to actually pay. You've obviously got like other costs. So if we were to take a look at this diagram, this really poorly written out diagram, right? This is the current page that they are actually on. So what would be the step after? So after they've read this cost of a divorce, they might decide to actually inquire with us. So for example, right, this is why they've internally linked to their homepage, to try and get that person to fill out this contact form. And then the before, right? So again, if they were to read this entire article, they might decide, okay, well, what is what is a financial settlement, right? So this goes to like a checklist on divorce, like a divorce checklist, right? So again, they might have questions prior to actually purchasing a product or a service for you. So a really good place, and again, this might sound really weird for some of you guys, especially if you've never done this before. A really good place for like internal linking is actually going and asking like your sales staff, like, hey, what kind of questions do you guys get on the call prior to them actually buying a service or signing up to our product or service? And what you'll typically find is that a lot of the questions that your sales team actually get, you'll actually be able to turn those into blog articles, and they will make for really good time on site on your actual website. So that's another setup, or another way that you can think of it. Let's look at a completely different website, just so I can show you guys that this is completely universal. So this is an e-commerce store, first of all, right? So just to show you guys that every single website's doing this and they're doing it well. This is ranking position number 3, or actually, do you know what? We could probably click onto these guys. So this is another vape store as well. And this is ranking position number 1 for how to refill a vape pen. The previous website was ranking position number 3, I believe. And again, if you take a look, this is like a really simple guide on how to change your vape tank. And as you can see, these are all internal links to their actual vape tanks. And again, if we take a look at this page, for example, to be honest, I thought that this page was a little bit better from an SEO content point of view. If you take a look here, you've got how to fill a vape tank, and then you've got, even if you clarify a new vaping, or the process of filling a vape tank, and then if we actually click on here, it's actually internally linked to their vape tank page selling all of their vape tanks as well. So again, like what I said before, this isn't just a one size, or this isn't just for one style of website. It actually matches a lot of websites. Another way of thinking about this is, like, for example, you've got pre-sale questions and you've got after-sale questions as well. That's how you build an actual brand, as opposed to just building traffic. Now, what do I mean by that? If you think of this current page that they're on as being your buy white running shoes, for example, right? The before questions that somebody might have when it comes to that is, what type of running shoes is best for treadmills, right? So that would be like a before question. Then you could obviously internally link them to your actual shop page. Then you've got an after page question. Your after page question might be something along the lines of, for example, a blog article to do with how to clean or how to maintain white running shoes, right? That's how you build an audience. You're not just focusing on just selling them the product, but you're also taking action, or you're actually uploading articles on the after sale as well. Like, a lot of knife stores do this really well, when it's like the before would be something along the lines of, what kind of kitchen knife is the best for cutting tomatoes, right? And then it internally links to their best cutting tomatoes knives page, which might be which could be like a collections page like this, where it might have like 25, 30 knives on the best knives to cut tomatoes with. And then their after sale page or blog article might be something along the lines of how to keep a kitchen knife sharp, for example. And then obviously, again, the good thing about that page, you could actually sell that exact same customer twice. You could sell them a kitchen knife, but you can also sell them a kitchen knife sharpener as well, or a knife sharpener. So that's how you should be thinking about your internal linking, which is kind of the reason why I don't like automating my internal links. I know it can definitely be done. There's loads of tools out there. You can use Link Whisperer. You can actually paste in your actual sitemap into ChatGPT and say, like, hey, what kind of articles should I be internal linking to? Like, it's really, really easy to automate your internal linking, but there should be some kind of thought process. Don't just internal link just for the sake of internal linking, because that's ultimately going to mess up a lot of your SEO, and also might not make sense from a user journey point of view either. Like if we take a look at this sitemap, for example, right? What I'll do is I'll find a blog section that we can actually take a look at their sitemap. So if you have never looked at a sitemap of a website, this is basically the sitemap of the divorce website that we were looking at before, right? This is anthonygold.co.uk/sitemap_index.xml. Now, what you could do, and I'm not saying that this is the best strategy, because it's definitely not. I prefer to do this manually, hence why it takes so much time. But you could definitely just copy all of these blogs with all of the URLs and stuff. You could either just copy it like that, or you can use a tool called Link Clump. I don't know if you guys have ever heard me talk about this Chrome extension before, but this is what it looks like if you've never used it before. Link Clump. This is it here. You can just hold down on Z and you can just copy all of these different URLs, right? And basically what this will allow you to do is it'll, first of all, allow you to actually copy all the URLs, but then you can actually just paste these into ChatGPT and basically tell it to follow this actual structure that I've been telling you about, the one step before and one step after. So I'll very quickly do that and I'll show you guys what it actually comes back with. So this is the prompt that I've used, and this is basically it. Can you give me internal link suggestions using the one step before and one step after of which questions would people have prior to inquiring with me? So internal link to that page, but also take into consideration what questions people might have after reading that page. And I've just given it a list of like 25 different URLs. And as you can see here, this would be the main page that we're actually taking a look at. So if we actually, if we take a look here, right, this is the page that we're talking about. Can I withdraw from, or can I withdraw my divorce petition? And then you've got a before, and the before would be checklist on divorce, and the after would be divorce day myth. Then you've got the checklist on divorce page, and then you've got family law consultation preparing tips as being the before page, and then the after page is can I withdraw from my divorce petition. Then you've got specific issue order guide, and then it's saying that we should probably be internal linking to family law consultation preparation tips, and obviously that just makes sense. But as you can see, it's done it for a lot of our different silos. So this website is not just talking solely about family law, it's also talking about like personal injury and medical negligence. So for example, if we were taking a look at, is there a time limit for making a personal injury claim, right? This is the page that it's talking about. Let me just load it up very quickly. And as you can see here, it's saying to us, secondary victim claims in medical negligence, so understanding eligibility, which is really, it just makes sense to actually internal link to that. And then after would be value of personal injury claims. So for example, if you think of the thought process of somebody landing on this page, right, is there a time limit for making a personal injury claim? So somebody might have been injured within the past like 2 years or something, and they want to make certain that they can still make the claim. If they read this article to the end and they're like, yeah, I can still make the claim, perfect. Then the next question might be, well, how much is the value of my claim? That would naturally be the next question that they would actually ask, right? And if I just click off of this menu, how is the value of my personal injury claim assessed? Now that's basically telling that person like, hey, yes, you can make a claim. You're still in the legal limits of being whatever the date is. Here is how you actually assess the damages. So I don't know, did you rip your arm off, for example? If you did, you can get £6 million, for example. I don't know the full ins and outs of personal injury, but that's basically what that actual article is telling us. Then they've done it for the exact same as like wills and inheritance, probate, but that's the actual prompt that I would be using. It's relatively easy to do. I'll just go back to the prompt so you guys can see it. Can you give me internal link suggestions using the one step before and one step after process of which questions would people have prior to inquiring with me? So internal link to that page, but also take into consideration which questions people might have after reading that page as well. And then you obviously just need to copy all of your blogs. I just hold down Z and I just click and drag with link clump, and it just allows me to copy and paste a lot of my blog articles into ChatGPT. So that's using the before and after. Now, if you don't want to use, or if you want even more suggestions, right? This is a very old school tactic, but it works really well, especially if you just understand the industry. So you can do site : and then the keyword that you want to try and rank for. So in this case, we will do personal injury. We'll also load up another page for family or divorce law as well. Divorce, right, we'll do divorce. So what this basically does is that it's going to give us a list of pages that's first of all indexed on our website, but second of all, it makes sense to actually internal link to one another, right? So if we take a look here, right, personal injury, that's the actual service page. So somebody that's landing on this, they're pretty much ready to buy from us or get into contact with us, right? So that's probably going to be like our most important page on the actual website when it comes to personal injury law. So knowing that, this should have the most amount of internal links, whether it's for your nav bar, whether it's for your footer, whether it's internal links via your home page, for example. But then you've got all of these other pages that's talking about personal injury law, and are these pages actually internally linked to that page? So it does look like they are actually internally linking to, they've actually internally linked to one of their lawyers. I'm not certain why they've done that, but let's take a look and see. So they've not actually internally linked to their actual service page, which is a little bit worrying, but very quickly you'll be able to understand which pages are internally linking to one another and which pages aren't. So in this case, this page isn't internally linking to any page here, and it's talking about the stages of personal injury claim, right? So this should be actually internally linking contextually, like within the main body content, not via your sidebar, not via your actual nav bar here. Ignore your sidebar, your nav bar, and your footer when you're doing this task. Look at the actual main body content. If there's no internal links within this content, which it looks like there's not, you've got a problem. You should be internally linking. Same goes with like all of these pages. So start slowly working your way down the page, and you'll very quickly realize, okay, I've got 35 pages talking about personal injury law, but I've only got 2 pages contextually internally linking to that page. So the whole purpose of this task is trying to build out more contextual internal links through to this page. This is the most important page to do with personal injury law on our website, because this is going to be the page that ultimately ranks for personal injury law UK or personal injury law space location. So look to build more internal links that way. I know it's a little bit of a slow, mundane, boring process, but a lot of SEO is slow and mundane, unfortunately. So you've got that. Now let's take a look at their actual divorce page here. So if we take a look, this is their actual service page, I believe. Yep, this is talking about like the family law, getting people to actually book in. And this should be the page that actually ranks for family lawyers, right? Then you've got all of these different blog articles, right? So I'm actually going to ignore, or actually, divorce and separations FAQs. Do you know what? This could probably actually internal link to their family law and relationships service page. I don't see why you wouldn't. Then they've got financial settlement in divorce or dissolution. And again, this should, I'm not saying it has, but this should internally link to their divorce page, which it looks like it is. Perfect. So their divorce silo does look like it's a little bit better than the personal injury law silo. It does look like they have internally linked a few more pages. Let's take a look into this. Yes, I mean it's not great by any means. It can definitely be improved. Maybe I'm being a little bit picky here, but work through all of your actual divorce pages, or work through each silo. Treat each of your service as being one individual silo, and start to internal link to your service page. So this is the service page that they should be powering up with more internal links throughout their website. And these are like the blog pages on their actual website. So if I go to, for example, this 8 potential risks of do-it-yourself divorce, right? This should be internal linking to their divorce page, but it doesn't look like it is. I mean, this website has got a lot of topical authority. It's just not got the best internal linking, which, again, it ranks really well. It's just one of those websites that just goes to show you don't need to have completely perfect SEO. You can get away with having like a 5 out of 10 internal linking strategy. This would be like one of those websites that, like, if you were to just spend maybe 25 hours on the internal linking alone, you would see tremendous growth throughout the entire website, because that's just one thing that they're not focusing on. Another thing, one thing that they are actually doing pretty well is internal linking from their homepage. So very last thing to remember, and a lot of websites do it. These aren't just the only guys that do it. Like, even if we were to search like vape store online, right? I always go back or refer back to vape websites, because vape is typically like CBD, and like it's in the adult industry, so it's kind of hard to rank in that industry. But if you take a look, right, so these guys, they obviously want to try and rank for like leasehold services, or family law, or conveyancing law, or civil litigation, right? These are all the services that they provide. And guess what? They've internally linked from their homepage. They're not just relying on their actual nav bar. Few things about the nav bar: it does pass less power than actually internal linking via your homepage, for example, or via contextual blog articles. So if you've got like 5,000 word blog content, if you place like 10 internal links in that blog content, it's going to pass more value to those pages rather than just internal linking via your nav bar. So always just remember that. But these guys have done a really good job of using their homepage real estate internally linking to their main service pages. And if we take a look at this vape store, again, two completely far scenarios, or completely different websites. Obviously, these guys, they want to try and sell as many e-liquids, so they want to try and rank higher for buy e-liquids online. And if you take a look here, they've internally linked via their nav bar, but they don't just rely on their nav bar. They're also internally linking via their homepage as well. This is one thing that I don't see many websites do or take advantage of, and that's internal linking, or using more internal links via their homepage. Like, if you take a look, right, they're internal linking once to their e-liquid page, twice to their e-liquid page, 3 times to their e-liquid page. Does this internal link? No. 3 times. Let's see where else. E-liquid. Where else? 4 times here, right? And I can guarantee 5 times. So they've internally linked to the same page 5 times on their homepage. If you include the nav bar and also the footer. If you don't include the nav bar and footer, they've internally linked to this one page 3 times. The reason why people take advantage of the homepage is, if you look at, I want to say like 90% of the websites out there, the homepage is going to be the most powerful page that you have on your website, unless it's just a one-off website where you've maybe went and acquired like 250 links to one of your blog articles. But typically speaking, you're going to have the most amount of backlinks pointing through to your homepage. So take advantage of that homepage. If you're not internally linking to the pages that you truly care about ranking via your homepage, you're missing out on link equity. So remember to make certain that you are actually doing that. But that's been my video on internal linking. I hope you guys have enjoyed. If you want higher rankings for your website, or maybe you're struggling to rank and you just need a little bit of assistance, check out casualdash.com, fill in the contact form, and I will be in touch. Thank you for watching.